G'day and welcome to Shots TV. It's the Midweek Extra and it's episode 18 already. I'm Mark Butler and on the show tonight it's action-packed once again. I caught up with the old club, Aldershot FC, a great midfielder, Glenn Burvill, and he told us some lovely stories about his time at the club and the fateful night he had after getting promotion with the club in 1987, which was brilliant. Henry and the Midweek Volunteers caught up with the Disability Initiative Resource Centre, and I'll tell you more about that when I introduce, but that's a wonderful VT. We go behind the scenes now. What you may or may not know is that Henry's been having a team of people taking some action shots from different angles. We thought you might like to see the kind of stuff that gets produced in that for our social media. We put a little piece for you on our show today. There's an Academy update from Ross White, so I'm glad that they're still coming on regular. The Crimea sponsored Around the World is back, but it is the last episode of Around the World. We'll be thinking of something new for you. Henry will be visiting, I think it's Australia, so he'll tell you that. The Oasis Electrical In With The Shot is back with the ever colourful Mike Pusey. I hope you're the lucky winners this week. And we finish up with questions to Shaheen, and I think there's one question for me. So that's the show today, action-packed as I said, and let's get straight on with our premiere interview with Glenn Burvill. With me now, absolutely delighted to have Glenn Burvill. Glenn, brilliant to catch up with you. I had the privilege of playing with you once in a Vets game, which we'll talk about at Alton, where you won the game for us at the end. But let's talk about your career. You started at West Ham United and had 3 years there, and you played with some fantastic players at West Ham.
Yeah, people like Trevor Brooking, Billy Bonds. Yeah, obviously I didn't play in the first team. I was in the reserves, but when they were injured or coming back from injury or anything like that, they used to come and play in the reserves, and it was just a privilege to play with people like Trevor Brooking and that. Yeah, and it was. I had a great time there. Loved it. You know, I started as an apprentice. We had a really good youth team. We won the FA Youth Cup. Yeah, and then I signed. I was a young pro for 3 years. In those days, it was called a young professional. But I never ever got to play for the first team. I went with them once to West Brom, and I was like 13th man. But yeah, but it's just a lovely club, an absolutely lovely club. Great people run it and everything.
I never knew that you won the FA Youth Cup. What a fantastic achievement that is for a start. And here's a question just out of the blue, because sometimes they don't actually. Did the players you were playing with in that youth team, did any of them go on to be? Who was in that team with you?
Yeah, our youth team. I used to say that out of a youth team, one would go on and make it. Well, out of the 11 that started that FA Youth Cup final against Spurs, 10 of us went on to play professional football. There was people like Bobby Barnes, who obviously you lot know because he come to us, Paul Allen, Alan Dickens, Tony Cotty, I think who else? Keith McPherson, Christian Pofo, Errol Laronde, Johnny Vaughan played at Fulham. I think. Yeah, and we had Steve Milton. I think Steve played at Fulham for a little while. Yeah, so we had a really good youth side, and we beat Spurs in the final.
Yeah, fantastic! What an achievement that is. Like you say, though, the Claret and Blue. Just no, is West Ham is that your team? I mean, you're born in Canning Town. Was West Ham your team, or did it become your team?
Yeah, our family grew up supporting West Ham. We only live around the corner from them. And I couldn't believe it. Like when I got offered to sign, it was just like a dream come true for me.
Yeah, fantastic! What an achievement that is on its own. But then I suppose West Ham's loss, if you like. You didn't get a game for them, and you probably would have done that in nowadays football with 5-6 subs, wouldn't you? I mean, back in the day, I'm assuming it was one sub on your jack on the bench.
Yeah, that was it. Just a one sub. Like I said, I went to West Brom. And like you always think, oh, I'm 13th man. Hopefully someone gets into
yeah.
But no, it never happened. And but that was an insight of football for me. It was like watching the first team get in the changing room and all that. and afterwards, I remember the game they drew 0-0, and I remember that my contract was I would get the same amount of money for appearance, so I've got another week's wages, and in those days it was £75 a point, and they drew with West Brom 0-0, and I got £75. For me, for an 18-year-old, was a lot of money in those days.
Yeah, brilliant. What a nice story. But then 1983 comes, and you join Aldershot Football Club, and it was the start of two periods, but just this first period. How did the move come about? What was the first you heard of it? I understand Lenny Walker came in for you.
Yeah, well, what it was, I got called into the office to say that I wasn't getting a renewed month contract. John Lyle was the manager at the time, and he was such a nice man. And he said, "Look, Glenn, I'll help you to get set up." He said, if we can't get you a club, you can stay here until you get a club and keep yourself fit and all that. He always looked after everybody. Like I say, it was a family club. You know, they do whatever they could for you. And then I remember him ringing up. He said, "Look, Dale Bantam went to Aldershot last year and has had a really good season." He says, "I know Lenny quite well," and he made a phone call, and I got invited to go there for a little trial for a month, and I did all right, to be fair. And then after the month, Lenny offered me a year's contract.
Fantastic, and that was the start of the red and blue career. I mean, 65 games in that first period between 83 and 85, a few goals. Anything stand out in the first period before you got your move to a team that I don't like mentioning, but we'll talk about later on?
Yeah, when I like you said, I played 60 odd games. I think my first season I got something like 14 goals. I remember getting 4 in one game against Mansfield.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and that was my only ever hat-trick I ever got in my playing career, professional-wise. Yeah, that was good. I just had my memories at Aldershot were I just loved it. Loved my time there. And if I'm really honest, I don't think I would have left when I did leave if Lenny Walker was still in charge, because I got on really well with Lenny and he believed in me. And I think when I left to go to Reading, I think Lenny was working for Reading at the time. So I didn't know that until I got there. So I think Lenny had a word and said, "Look, have a punt on the Glen. He might do something." But I didn't have a great time at Reading, if I'm honest.
So you'll have to you can educate me here, Glenn. So in that first period, then that's when Lenny leaves Aldershot, and who took over from Lenny then?
I think it was Ron Harris, if I remember rightly. Ron Harris. Yeah, I got on all right with Ron. Nice fella. But the offer came in, and he asked me if I wanted to go. At the time, you know, I thought, so I'm going to better myself because it's an higher league. They were a division above us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I thought, well, you know, and things weren't going great at Aldershot when I left. I think they were in, you know, there's talk about maybe they're going bust or whatever. Because I think Ron hadn't been in there long with, I think it was his friend that took the club on. But yeah, I didn't have to leave. Ron said I didn't have to go, but I just thought to myself, well, I'm going to better myself here. Believe it or not, I didn't actually know that Reading and Aldershot were rivals. I didn't know that. Coming from London, I didn't know where. Yeah, I honestly didn't.
I think you've just made that up.
Honestly, straight up. I just didn't know they were rivals. It wasn't until I remember just as I was leaving, John Anderson. I saw him in the boot room, and he was talking, and he was the one who told me, because he went to me, of all clubs you could have gone to, Glenn, you chosen them. And I went, why is that then? He went, well, because of the rivalry. And I thought, oh, I didn't know nothing about that. But yeah, so I didn't know. Well, that's why no one liked me when I come back.
Yeah, well, no, I don't dispute that. It was all right if you come back. That's a difference. It's the leaving to go there. But after a season there, you gave yourself a good shower and got back into Hampshire. So yeah. How did that come about? Obviously, you've alluded to things not quite working out at Reading, and someone gave you the opportunity to come back. Was that still Ron?
No, that was Lenny. Lenny come back. He went back as manager. Like I say, I went to Reading, did not enjoy it one bit. It's just like I started my career at West Ham, always played football, league football. Went to Aldershot, done the same thing, played nice football. But I went to Reading, where I played in midfield, and I think I might touch the ball about 2 or 3 times a game because it just kept going from back to front. And it didn't suit me. I just couldn't. I think I played 33 games for him and didn't score a goal. I don't think I had a shot on target because I just never got anywhere near the other box. It was just running back and forth, and it just not my cup of tea. While I was there, I went to Fulham on loan for a month.
You got a couple of goals for them, didn't you?
Yeah, I played 9 games. I really enjoyed that, and I could have signed for them when I left Reading. When I left Reading, but I ended up signing for Aldershot just because I loved the first stint there, and I knew that Lenny had gone back, so I knew that I'd be in safe hands, go and play for Len.
It's funny, isn't it? Because even I never got to the heights that you did it as a pro, but similar principles. If you get a manager that you know and that you know they like you, you can bring the best out of you, can't it? Or you can feel more secure as well. Yeah,
just like you've played the game. You feel comfortable. When you feel comfortable with somebody, you don't care. Like, you just go out onto the football pitch and enjoy it, knowing that you might do some things wrong, but he's not going to just have a go at you and stick you in the reserves because you didn't do what he said in the first place. It made you feel happy in yourself, and that's a big part of football. If you enjoy your football, you've got no pressure on yourself. It's just nice, and you will go out and perform better. There's nothing worse when you go on a football pitch thinking, if I make a mistake, I'm not going to be playing the next game. And that's how I felt at Reading. You know what I mean? So, and I really, because the lads used to call me the son of Lenny, because we got on really well. Yeah. So
well, it was the start of five great years. I've got it down here. It was 86 to 91, nearly 200 games alone in the second spell, over 20 goals. If you have a look at your career, which I'm having a little look at now, it's the longest stint that you did. 5 years. It kind of came you a bit of a stalwart with the club. I mean, there must be many memories that you can talk about. I know the obvious ones we'll talk about in a minute, the playoff semi-finals and stuff like that. But did you feel that the club was building up for promotion? Because you come back in 86 and it's only like the year later that we're really pushing for it. Was that on the cards? Did you feel that?
No. When I went back, Lenny had signed some players. I think Kingy signed in the Andy King and that. And they make a big difference, that, mate, what a player he was. My God, I only played with him one season. Mate, the man was a magician. He was just, when he played, we won. It was as simple as that. If he didn't play, we missed him. But yeah, there was something, we went on a run where we just kept winning games. And then the next thing you're in the playoffs. But when we got to the playoffs, I don't, I thought, like, because we ended up 6, I think, and you had teams like Wolves in it who had Bully and Much. Yeah, and you look at them and you think, you look at them and you think, oh, little Aldershot against Wolverhampton Wanderers. But yeah, I didn't play in the final, but over the 2 games, we deserved to win both games.
Let's talk about perhaps the semi-final first, Berv, because I'll just remind you, not that you need it, but the first year in the playoffs was a bit unique because we finished 6th. We actually had to play the team that was 4th bottom from the league above first. Now, when you look at what those 2 clubs have done, you're now talking, before you even get to Wolves, you're now talking Bolton Wanderers, of course, who have got a brand new stadium and been in the playoffs. This was at the old ground, Burnden Park. But there's a great bit of footage up there, but we've got the result here. I mean, talk to us about that, because it was a good game for yourself and you scored a goal. I mean, a semi-final, it must have been a big moment.
Yeah, I remember the first game at home. We beat them 1-0.
Yep.
Yeah, but if I remember right, I think they battered us. If I'm honest, I think they battered us at home. And but I think it was Jono got the goal. And so we went there with a 1-0 lead. And I think they thought, oh, they're going to just iron us out. But we went there. I think it went into extra time, if I remember right.
Berv, I don't want to interrupt you, but I can only see your ear roll.
Sorry, mate.
And as much as I don't want to put the fans through your face, mate, but they don't want to see your ear. Is that all right?
Sorry, mate. Is that better?
That's perfect, mate. So sorry, you were saying. So up there, you had the impression that they thought they might have rolled us over a bit easy.
Without doubt. Their manager Phil Neal was the manager at the time.
Oh wow, Liverpool, the old Liverpool Phil Neal.
Yeah, I'm sure it was Phil Neal. Yeah, yeah, and we went there. I think it was 2-2 in the end, wasn't it? So we went through on the away goal, I think.
Yes.
Or, no,
I think it was. Well, you would know better than me.
Yeah, I'm too sure. It's either 2-2 and we went through on the away goal or something like that. Yeah, I think me and Darren Anderson scored the goals, didn't we?
Yes. So it must have been 2-2 up there then, and 3-2 to us on aggregate.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, I remember scoring the goal. I've got it on video. Someone sent me it years ago, and I've got it on video. But I remember scoring, but the Aldershot support was at the other end, and I run all the way up to the other end to celebrate with them. I remember it.
Plays the ball forward. Good challenge off Phil Neal here. Sutton and Burvill going for the ball. Burvill winning the ball, playing the ball out wide to Fryer. Fryer playing the ball in. McDonald. Oh, good header to Burvill.
Brilliant. Yeah, I've actually seen that. I've seen that video today myself, and it brings back a few goosebumps. But I didn't know this until you just told me today. But it must have been bittersweet then, because that's a semi-final, and we then face Wolves, who finished an absolute mile above us in the league, another giant football club, obviously sleeping giant at the time. We faced them in the final, and of course, being Aldershot, we're very unlucky. It's the first time the final's not been played at a national stadium or a big stadium. It was the first one, and it was the only one that's been two-legged in the final. But you tell me you were suspended. Were you suspended for the home game as well then, or did you pick up the suspension against Bolton?
No, I got sent off in the last league game of the season against Northampton. I think I'm not too sure if we won that we could have gone up. So I'm not too sure, but something. And we had a lad who used to play for us called Paul Fry, but he was playing for Northampton at the time, and I don't know. He said something to me or something like that, and I just booted him or something. I can't remember. But I ended up getting sent off, and I missed the. I knew I was going to miss the final if we got there, but to be honest, I just wanted us to get there and just enjoy. I would have been more upset if the final was at Wembley, because my dream was always to play at Wembley, which I never ever got to do. But I got close a couple of times. But the Wolves game, I remember we went up early, and I ended up me and a couple of lads who weren't involved. Darren Anderson, funny enough, Darren Anderson wasn't involved neither, and we were the two that got the goals in the semi-final.
Wow.
So I'm not too sure if Darren was suspended or or was injured or something, but I know that me and him didn't play. So that was a bit weird that neither of us played. We both got the goals in the semi-final. Yeah,
a bit of one of them weird coincidences. We obviously got the result here. I think we beat Wolves 2-0. I think here, didn't we? And then of course it was the famous. And you mentioned him earlier that he was playing with you at West Ham, which is interesting. Bobby Barnes cuts in the inside right and then plants it with his left foot in the far corner. And it was utopia for us all. I was there myself, Glenn, as a fan. So it must have been absolutely, and it's a wonderful achievement for the club. And it remains probably up there alongside the original promotion with Stockport as one of the finest things the club's done. We've only got a small history in terms of major moments, but it's revered and it's remembered, and for all of those that was there, it must have been fantastic. So it must have been celebration time for you all.
Yeah, I remember though, over the 2 games. I remember the first game, at home, we beat them 2-0. But I knew I was suspended. Yeah, and I lived in Brighton, and Mickey Ring lived in Brighton as well. And I had to pick Mickey up to get to the ground, and my car broke down. And I remember thinking, oh my God, we're going to be late, and poor Mickey's not going to make it.
Wow.
But we got in touch with the club and that, and I think Mickey got there just before the warm-up or something like that, but he played. But yeah, we were late, and that didn't go down too well. Yeah, and then, if I'm really honest, me and Darren Anderson were quite drunk before the end of the game. We got there, and we weren't playing and getting involved, so we started having a few drinks and that. And then when the end of the game, it was just mental in the changing room, and it was just crazy. And then I remember coming back. We got back to the ground, and as we got, I promise you, as we got off the bus, well, we didn't get off the bus. We got carried off the bus, and we got carried over to the club across the road,
Sportsman's Club.
Yeah, and me, Darren, Georgie Mazin, and a few others, we just stayed there until silly hours of morning, and then then we end up driving home to the boys, Darren Anderson and George, we had a sponsored car, and so we drove back to my house because we were just going to go back to my house and carry on partying, apparently, but we never made it home because of
I don't, and I'm sure you don't. We've got a smile on our face. None of us condone the fact that you might have had a drink and drove. Not you personally, but George or whoever it was. But the story's it's synonymous with the occasion. So you can't help have a little bit of a cheeky smile on it. I mean, Giorgio got quite serious injuries, didn't he?
Yeah. If I'm really honest, me and Darren were the ones that were drinking. George was driving because he played, so he wasn't really drinking. Because he you know what I mean, because he played the game and things like that. But I said, come, look, we'll go back to my house, we'll have a few drinks. So George was driving, yeah, and everything was fine. And then George started falling asleep. So we said, well, you got to stop him. So Darren said, I'll drive. And as he was driving, I said, look, be careful up here, mate, because it's a sharp bend. I said, and there's loads of trees there. And he took it a little bit too fast, and we hit the tree. Yeah, I smashed my face and broke my arm. Darren smashed all his face up all down. Yeah, I think he had 12 stitches in it down by the side of his eye. But George was sitting in the back where he was so tired. It's amazing though. Like we told him to put his seatbelt on and everything, but he put his seatbelt on and laid down. And then when we had the accident, it must have just jarred him. Because when we got out of the car, he couldn't get out of the car, so we had to help him out of the car. But the maddest thing about this whole thing was when we got him out of the car, we're on a bend. Yeah, we laid him down in the middle of the road. And Darren ran off one way, and I ran off another to try and get someone to get a phone, to ring the ambulance and that, because we're in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the fields. So, if anything come around the corner, they were just running him over because it was pitch black. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. But we didn't think of it. We just laid him down.
Trying to help him.
So, yeah, just laid him down and thought he was all right. But, oh, my God, if anything, if a car had come around the corner, just don't know what would have happened.
No, well, fortunately, you're all here to tell the tale. I had a season... got to know Darren as well at Staines, actually, when he was carrying on his career. So I know he's a character. Didn't know Giorgio too well, but you're all here to tell the tale, and it is funny what happens. But you have a season in, and things are good for Aldershot at this moment. I mean, we're in what would now be called League One. I don't know why they changed that, Division 3 as we knew it. Some big games, Sunderland and stuff. And life must be quite good at the moment, because I'm going to touch on towards the end of Aldershot. You left when it looked like things were going wrong, but before that, I mean, we had a season where staying in that division is key.
yeah, that was what it was. Like we weren't a big club. Obviously, we was getting, I think, about 2,000 people. But then you were playing teams like Sunderland who were getting like 30,000. I'm not too sure. I think we might have beat them.
We definitely won down here, I think, 3-2.
Yeah, we beat them 3 in an evening game, weren't it?
I can't remember the game, but the day.
Yeah, but yeah, we did. And I think, like a lot of small club, it's about surviving. And that's what we did in the end. I think we had one season there, and then if I'm really honest, I don't remember a great deal of that season, but we did. Yeah, we definitely survived, but I think the following year is the year we went down.
Yeah, I don't want to waste. Like, it's been a lovely interview, reminiscing with you, and I don't want to sort of dwell on it, but we all know what happened to the club in '92. I've got you down, and correct me in any of this, I've got you down as leaving the club in '91, and that almost then you've said off camera that was sort of like the end of your professional career. But did you see the signs that the club had a problem? It's just a question that I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? So I'm asking you, can you think back now? Do you sort of go, do you know what? It was clear that we had an issue, because it just seemed like 4 years before, 4 or 5 years before, we're in Division 3 League 1, and then it just takes that long, and all of a sudden we're out of business. Yeah,
when that was, I think Brian Talbot was the manager then, and again, I think his pal that become chairman or something, and there was rumours flying around that they were taking money out of the club. I don't know how true that was, but gradually you're seeing players leave, and then we're having youngsters coming in to play, and no disrespect to them, but obviously they weren't ready to come and play, and it was hard. Like, you're going out and you're getting smashed week in, week out. You're not enjoying your football,
right?
And Brian Talbot, who's not my favourite person, at the end, I just didn't get on with him, and I just think he had what he forgot. He come from someone like Arsenal. He played all his career at Arsenal. He had an unbelievable career at Arsenal, Ipswich, and that. Played for England, but he's come into our club, and he also, after that, I think he was manager at West Brom and that. But then he's come into our club, who were like 3rd, 4th division players, but he expected us to do what he was used to, what he could do himself, and players that he's played at an higher level with. And he's coming training. He go, right, we'll do this. He could do these things, but sometimes we weren't as good as what he was expecting. And I think he got disappointed with us. And then all of a sudden he started trying to bring in some of his mates, like Frank Stapleton, I can't think of the other fella up front, Keith Burchin, I think it was, or something like that. He brought them in, but you could tell that they were thinking, I'm getting out of here. This ain't work. This is not run very well, and things like that. It wasn't.
Right.
And you could just see, we were in trouble. And I think I left. I ended up falling out with Ryan, and I didn't have to leave. I still had. I think I'd signed a new contract about 6 months before, so I still had 18 months to go. But I just fell out with him, and in the end, he was just like, I would have to go with the first team away from home. We played like Scarborough. I come back 2 o'clock in the morning. He'd go, right, Glenn, you'll be in the morning. And I'll never forget, one day I ended up coming in to train to play a match against the team of over 50-year-olds from Ireland or something. We beat them something like 33-0. And I'm thinking, what am I getting out of this? But he was just doing it to punish me because I spoke up about something that he didn't like. And that's the thing with Brian, you didn't have an opinion. It's not, it's his way or no way. And I didn't enjoy it. Again, we weren't playing good, attractive football. We were just lumping it because he was a fitness freak. That man could run, and he just that's all we did was running, training. So yeah, I ended up leaving. I didn't have to, like I say, I still had 18 months, but I thought, what, it's not for me, so I just left. I was really disappointed because I was only like 28, 29. Still thought I had a few years to, but
yeah.
these things.
You've done a bit of well, we get. I mean, it's always sad when you leave. Like I asked that question, and it's always interesting for the viewer to sort of know what happened. I didn't know that he had an issue. I mean, it normally involves eventually some reason or other not getting on with the manager at the time, because otherwise you wouldn't have left.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it was, Mark. We had a pre-season. I promise you, mate. To be fair to him, he got us fit. It's the fittest I've ever been. And you can ask all the lads, right? I could run. No one used to beat me in pre-season running. I just beat. And the lads said to me, Glenn, you've got to beat him. And you know what, right? I remember doing a pre-season running, and I was just way out in front of everyone. And then I thought, well, then all of a sudden he's come running past me. I didn't even hear him breathing heavy, mate. He was that good. Yeah. And so he really liked me. So he quite sort of got me and made me like a bit of a, we'll go through Glenn in there. But I remember we'd done pre-season, the very last game, I think it was Torquay in a friendly. I've gone up for an header, and as I've come down, I put my stud in, the kiddie who I jumped with, in his laces. And as we've landed, he's gone one way, I've gone the other way, and my ankle's just gone pop. So I'm going to miss begin the season. And we're playing Burnley away, and he went to me, Glenn, do you fancy it? I went, I can't even walk on it properly. He said, look, just come along, sit on the bench. I went, okay, I'll do that. So I went up, and we were losing 2-0. 10, 15 minutes ago, he said, go on. I'm thinking, what's the point? So I thought, well, I'm not going to argue. So I went on, and as I went, because I wasn't sharp or nothing, the ball's dropped, and I've gone for it, and I'm a little bit late, and the lad's just gone right through me, and I ended up getting an hole in my shin. But then after the game, he went, right, we're all in tomorrow. So I thought, well, I'm not going to train, because I don't want the lads thinking I'm a big-time Charlie, just not train. So I trained, and I remember again, someone's knocked me a ball, and I've not got there because I'm struggling. So it's bounced up, hit me on of all places, hit me on the cut that I got the day before. And he's gone mental at me. And he went, how do you expect me to sell you if you can't even control the ball? And I just lost it. I went, how do you expect me to sell me if I don't touch the ball? You keep kicking the ball on my effing well head. And he didn't like it. He said, what, you don't like that then? I went, no. He went, right, okay. I'll train with the youth team. And I played one more game before I left. And that was the last day that I left the club. We played Chesterfield away. He called me up in the office. This is what really hurt me, because I think he disrespected me. So he called me up into the office, and he went, look, we're struggling for players tomorrow. Do you want to, can you play? I went, of course I can. He said, you won't miss about and not try, will you? And I thought, you shouldn't be asking a professional footballer not to try. Are you going to try? You know what I mean? I was thinking, and I said, of course I would not. I'll do it for myself, if anything. Yeah. And then after that game, I got on the bus, went home, and never ever played professional football again.
Oh well, I mean, I'm glad you shared that with us, and that goes to show people at home that football's not always this fantastic fairy tale. There are other sides to football which can hurt you, and in more ways than physical as well. So, but you then had a little career managing some teams non-league. So I just want to touch on that a little bit and just ask you what you're up to now, Glenn.
Yeah, when I left Aldershot, it's really weird. Like I said, I played on the Saturday at Chesterfield, and then the following week I was playing in Division 2 of the county, Sussex County, against Bexhill away. Just mad. But I did get the winning goal, so it must have proved something. But after that, I stayed at New Haven because a couple of my pals were playing there, just doing a little plan for them. And then I just went from a few clubs around this way. I played at Peacehaven, Whitehall, Lewis, Alsham, and Saltdean, Ringmer. And I managed a couple of them. But I've had nothing to do with football now for the last 6 years. I started running pubs. So I've not really had time to do it because Saturdays is busy time in the pubs and things like that. So I never got it. I had to do one or the other.
Yeah, I can understand that. I had the pleasure of having one appearance with you. It was Alton Town. We had a little Vets game, and you still had a little bit of magic. But we're drawing 1-1. I don't know if you can remember it, but a little bit of magic in the corner and you get a penalty, although they were a bit disputing whether they touched you or not, I have to say. But it looked like a pen to me.
Intent, Mark. That's what I'll put.
Yeah. Well, the intent to go down.
Yeah.
No, it was great. And I must admit, it's when I got to know you a bit more personally, and it was lovely. Glenn, look, thanks for catching up with us today and sharing a bit of your time and your experiences about Aldershot Football Club. I hope you've enjoyed it. It will go on our midweek show, and I look forward to seeing you at the ground shortly. We'll have a bite to eat and have a chat at the club, eh?
Definitely, Mark. I really appreciate it. I've really enjoyed this. I just love the club, mate. I always try, and I still keep in touch with Nick. I just love when I come up there and I see people that I remember being there when I was, and that's exactly what the club is all about. It's a friendly club. It's a family club. Everyone gets on. Like the players mix with the supporters, and it's kept that going by the looks of it. Because when I come up there, it's always the same. People are always pleased to see the ex-players and things like that. And I definitely will be coming up a little bit more, because now that I don't run pubs, I can have Saturdays off. So it will be lovely to catch up with you soon, Mark, and have a beer.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, mate. You can come up as my guest. Everybody at home, that was Glenn Burvill.
Just imagine, in a perfect world, the grass would always stay green, the sun would always be shining, the birds would always be singing, and not one of us would be vitamin D deficient. For more information, please go to www.yourpersonalisedvitamins.co.uk.
Thornet Project Services Limited proudly supports Aldershot Town FC.
We are lions, and time is the land we roam. A land where we pounce on every occasion. Yes, time is our territory.
That was Glenn Burvill. It was really nice catching up with him, and as I mentioned in the interview, I managed to play one friendly with him at Alton, or a Vets game with him rather, at Alton, and he still had some top ability, turned a couple of players inside out, so you can see why he was a professional footballer, and it was really nice speaking to him. Hopefully we'll have him in the EBB soon. I've got a wonderful VT to introduce to you now, and it's a great story, and I want to just set the scene for you. We did a training kit raffle to raise funds for the first team. We had about 35 people enter it. It was £200 a ticket. And if your organisation or your company got drawn out, you could have your logo on the front and on all of our training equipment kits. Out of the 35 entries, which we're grateful for all of them, the number one came out, and the first person, people or group of people that entered it were the midweek volunteers. These are volunteers that come in about 3, sometimes 4 times a week and do all sorts of work around the ground. They put their money together, they brought a raffle ticket for £200. They were the lucky winners. We thought that the shirts would then contain midweek volunteer, but they then excelled themselves again by donating the sponsorship to an organisation called the Disability Initiative. It's taken some time, but Henry and the boys, and Richard Petty and the boss, all went down to the resource centre of Disability Initiative, and I think you'll really enjoy this VT.
And I'm Lucy, and I'm the Chief Executive here, so I was going to give you a little bit. This building is quite new compared to the organisation itself, so it's a charity, and it was set up probably when your grandparents were alive, 1975.
Thanks for aging me, Lucy.
Sorry about that. And then we got some lottery funding, so we consolidated 3 sites into one. People come to us from 18 up, from all over Surrey, Hampshire and Berkshire, sometimes the London boroughs, and we do our best to try and help people to retain their or maintain their independence, learn new skills, keep fit and healthy. And whilst I say we try and help them, our clients are very much a part of educating us as well, what we do and how we do it. So it's very, very important to us that everyone is included and involved, and everyone gets a good outcome from their time spent here.
Partners with one of our guys, and you just encourage them and push them, and then you compete against them. But no, has anybody injured at all?
No.
For now. I don't want to ruin any careers or anything. No. He's okay, so just so we're going to, Trevor, can you move to over that chair over there? That's all right. And stations carefully, not get too close to each other. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so let's start. Push out back the arms. Oh, come on, boys. One arm and the other.
We did a raffle for sponsorship for the training kit, which the day volunteers won, and they've donated their logo to the Disability Initiative, which is fantastic, a charity that we're proud to be a part of. So it's been a good day seeing the boys working with their clients, and I think both sets of people got quite a lot out of it.
A lot of great stories there from them as well, and a lot of facilities available to them on all floors.
Yeah, look, I think that you sometimes forget that there's another world, and people need help, and people need people that want to help. And when you've got initiatives like this, it's quite humbling at times, because there's a lot going on, but these people, they work very hard every day, and there's the motivation behind the clients that are at the facility is fantastic. These people could give up if they wanted to, but they don't. They choose to fight and make the best of what they've got, and I think that's a lesson to all of us.
And of course, we as a football club want to help people like this, and particularly these guys, as much as we can.
Yeah, it's a community, isn't it? You want to embrace all elements of community, and I think that sometimes there's a stigma around football and the old football fans and everyone going to the ground. Well, football covers a multitude of areas, and we want to be as engaging as we possibly can. And I've spoken to the organisation, and we're really keen to get them and their clients to the ground and hopefully experience, hopefully an Aldershot win, but definitely the Aldershot Stadium experience.
It's been a great day here at Disability Initiative. Been doing a little workout with Trevor and a couple of the others. It was really good today and definitely put me through my paces.
It's affected other industries, so like football, theatres.
Yeah, we were just talking about your impact for you, weren't we?
Yeah. So we're just having a discussion on that at the moment.
Good.
And how people are working out, like this and what they're doing for the future to ease themselves out of lockdown.
Yeah.
Have come back to see what we actually do here and the impact DI has, and I have to say they've just joined in Tracy's physical fitness group, and they did brilliantly.
They look very fit.
They do. I have to say,
I don't know where they've been hiding in the last year of lockdown.
Yeah.
Very healthy. Yes, we will, and we hope you'll still be in place.
Yeah.
Touche.
She's already been on Shots Web.
It might sound rude sometimes, or cut you or whatever, but this kind of sports now, and you saw the other day the people who intended to have the footballers clubs play a different.
In the Super League.
They're now being charged money or fined those clubs, although they thought joining the boss's idea was good, or the American way.
I think I'm going to give you a job, Jan. You know?
No. So the job itself, it also depends on how the children train and the management behaves and so forth. And what comes in, the little money comes in, it all depends on that. So hopefully you will still be there, yes?
Thank you.
Well, Richard, we're here with the Disability Initiative. How did it come about?
Well, we, as a group of volunteers, the weekday volunteers at the football club, we like to do whatever we can to support the club, not just in buying our season tickets and not just with things like the In With a Shot, which we all do individually and as a group, but whenever Mark Butler comes up with any of these great schemes, as he did with this initiative, we thought that it was something we wanted to support. So we bought one of the tickets, and we were very fortunate enough to actually come out as the winners of being able to have our logo on the training kit. Obviously, with just being a group of friends who do what we can to help the football club, we didn't actually have anything to support, so we universally decided that what we wanted to do was donate it to a charity. And after doing a little bit of research into local charities, we decided that we wanted to support one that the football club hasn't previously done any support with. And Disability Initiative was something that we felt really ticked all the boxes for the kind of charity that we wanted. It was local, being based in Camberley and in Fleet. We liked the range of services that they offered to their clients, and we just felt that it was a fantastic fit with everything that our football club as a community club stands for.
Exactly. Lucy, great to have us here today. Why don't you tell us a bit more about what you guys do at the Disability Initiative?
Well, we support people who mostly have an acquired physical disability or brain injury, and it's slow stream rehabilitation to enable people to be as independent as possible, but also to create a wide range of opportunities to really enhance skills and abilities. We've got a fantastic location here in Camberley, but also in Fleet. We've got a range of resources that are accessible to us. We have a team who are absolutely phenomenal. And we've been around for 47 years, so we're pretty experienced and we're a very specialist charity.
And Richard, it's been brilliant, hasn't it, just looking around the facilities today and what they offer their clients?
It's been absolutely everything that I wanted to see. It's marvellous, and being able to actually engage with some of the clients today and talk to them and actually see how much enthusiasm they have for being here and the obvious benefits that they get from it. This is certainly a charity that deserves support, and I hope that we get the opportunity to do more for them in the future.
We've just spoke to the manager as well. We want to continue to do more with these guys as well, as much as we can.
Excellent. No, that's marvellous, and it was great to see Danny here with some of the players as well, really participating, and you could see that they actually enjoyed the experience as well.
And Lucy, what can we do as a football club to continue our help with you guys? Anything that we can, anything coming up with you?
I think the involvement, the lads that came, the footballers that came today were just amazing. They were fully engaged. Our clients definitely gave every single person a run for their money, and disability doesn't discriminate. It can happen to any one of us at any time. So it's important to share skills, abilities, motivation, and just involve one another with what's going on. But I have to say, it's been a really fantastic afternoon, and we're so grateful that the volunteers nominated us as well. And I think let's just keep becoming involved with each other more and more. We've got a lot of Aldershot football fans here who will be coming along to watch those lads and shouting their names very loudly.
I hope you enjoyed that VT. I think it shows the other side of the football club. We want to be competitive on the pitch, but we do lots of good work in the community. And once again, thank you to the Midweek volunteers for all your work and for a wonderful gesture. Time now for something new. Henry's got a team of people who work on a match day. They do all sorts of stuff, and we've been producing behind the scenes match day moments, as we call it. And it's stuff that goes on behind the scenes, alternative camera angles, maybe some bits and pieces that are going on. And we thought that the show, people watching the show might like to see some of those and what goes into it. So here's a small clip showing the moments, I think, from the Yeovil and Hartlepool game. welcome back. Time for the regular Academy update now. Please, this is what's going on. And this time it's Ross White who's actually giving us the full SP on what's going on with the Academy.
Reece Wiley made his first National League appearance against Hartlepool United on Saturday. How proud do you feel for him, and are there any more potential graduates at the moment?
Yeah, no, listen, it was a great moment for Reece and his family. Obviously, like, he's been at the club since a long time, and he's come up through the system. He's come up through our under 18s, under 23s, and obviously he got his reward at the start of the season by earning himself a contract. I know Reece will do well because of how he was under us. Works hard, always wanted to develop, always wanted to get better, and most importantly kept his focus and got his head down. And that's why obviously now he's obviously getting the rewards. And he knows, we've had conversations that he needs to, it's just a level above now. Now he needs to do exactly the same thing, head down, work hard, and then obviously he'll get more rewards come in the near future, hopefully.
In recent weeks, who have the under-23s played? What are their most recent results? Are there any upcoming fixtures?
Yeah, so the how it's worked since we've been back, we've been put into like a mini league where we played 3 teams. So we played Lingfield, Sutton Common Rovers and Horley under 23s, and some of their first teams. We played them twice. We've won every game bar one, which we drew. So we naturally go through top of this group, and then we go into the quarterfinals, which I don't know who it hasn't been drawn yet, but we're going through to a quarterfinals probably end of next week, which we should know, and hopefully we can kick on from there.
Will your objectives be reaching the finals, since you've now reached the quarterfinals?
Of course, we always speak to the boys about like we never really play a game of football to lose or draw. Like of course we want to win, but we have to think of our principles, and how we do it is important to us as an academy. Obviously the process is more important than just winning a final. Like, our success is to develop boys and get boys into our first team. That's, of course, we want to go through the whole competition undefeated, and of course we do want to win a final. That's the boys' objective, but it needs to be our way, our philosophy, and more importantly, boys developing so they're getting nearer and nearer to the first team.
How important has the return of football been for the academy, and how have they flourished since lockdown?
Of course, I think it's important for everyone who plays football, not just our academy. Our boys were brilliant over the lockdown in terms of the remote learning. They were in full time. That was analysis sessions, that was fitness sessions, group sessions, leadership sessions. So at time off, we've tried our best with the resources we have to keep them engaged, keep them fit. So when we come back in, we were hitting the ground running. And to be fair to them, like the 23s have been brilliant. The whole academy has been brilliant. The 23s have really kicked on in terms of haven't lost a game yet since being back, and hopefully they'll get their success, like I said earlier, about getting their opportunities with Danny and Amar in first team.
And what are your targets for the under 23s in the near future? What do you hope for?
So it's in a really important time for the under 23s, especially this part of the season, because we're coming towards the end of the season. We have to look to the future. We have a group of players who are now, we've got Alfie and Ellis now training full time with the first team, where they will be kept on for next season. Alfie, brilliant right back, very committed, strong, good on the ball. Ellis, different kind of player, very technical, likes to get in the pockets, very attacking and likes scoring goals. They're two of the small group of boys that we'll be moving forward to next season, and hopefully them small group of boys will be with the first team pre-season. And it almost goes into being, now it's up to them to go prove to Danny and Anwar why they should be in that mix. We've got Harvey, we've got Dan Wallstar, George Sheldon and Tommy, like all brilliant footballers, completely different attributes. But we feel like they're the players that could make that step up. But of course, they've got to go and prove themselves as footballers.
Time now for the Crimea sponsored Around the World. I've really enjoyed this series. It's brought out lots and lots of people and given them the chance to show us their support from all over the globe. But this is the last in the series, and Henry caught up with our supporter all the way from Australia. And remember, this little clip is sponsored by the Crimea Pub, which is fully open and serving lovely beer.
Well, Chris, we're talking to you from afar, from Australia, as a long, far away Aldershot Town fan. You have a bit of an interesting background in terms of supporting the club. Why don't you tell us a bit more about how it started for you over there in Australia?
Well, I was a long-term Arsenal armchair fan, and like the game's not really in your face over here, so I started watching the highlights, which they showed on the government immigrant channel over here, and I was probably mid-teens, mid-90s, I'd say, and I really took a liking to Ian Wright and also a few Dutch players because my background is English Dutch. So there was Dennis Bergkamp, Marco Overmars, and they were on my team for a long time. But yeah, never really progressed into anything that stirred any sort of passion, I guess. A few reasons for that. I guess the money involved at that level. The all-seater stadiums, the style of football's kind of changed over that time. Talk of prioritising the Champions League placings over like the FA Cup, that's a pretty big day even in Australia, the FA Cup over here. And yeah, they were my club for a long time overseas, as well as another club in Germany. But yeah, things came to a head supporting a club over here in Australia, where I sort of disconnected from the game, and yeah, I just stopped following European football, being out of touch with European football for quite a while.
So you've gone from... No, please continue.
Sorry, what was that?
No, it's the internet. So you've gone from European football, not feeling as connected with it as you were before. Australia and your A-League team maybe not up to the standards maybe that you wanted as a fan. You're out there looking for a new club to support, and you stumble across Aldershot Town, which, as I understand, you've got a bit of family-related fan history in there with Frank Burt.
Yeah, so my family were aware over here of his 100-year birthday celebrations at the club, and at the time, my mum showed me the newspaper clippings, and they're not really a sporting family, my immediate family that is, and they were like pretty much trying to push the club onto me. I'm going to be honest. They got a real high opinion of Aldershot Town as a community club, and actually when the English side of my family immigrated in the 60s, fresh off the boat, they were heavily involved with a British migrant club over here, and 50 years later at their reunion, there was a photo of my granddad swapping, it was a Waverley City shirt over at the rec, went into the rec and swapped it over. And that's another, I guess not really significant, wouldn't be significant to you guys over there, but to my family here, it's another connection, I guess, to the club that makes Aldershot Town Football Club pretty special family over here.
That's brilliant, isn't it, that we can talk about the football club. It's not just a football team, it's a community, and the fact that the football club itself can have such an impact on your family like that, like the story you just mentioned there, is brilliant. And I suppose you get that with clubs at our level, maybe more than you would have got at your old club, your old higher up club, Arsenal.
Yeah, definitely. Arsenal was entertainment, armchair, sort of wouldn't really affect my day, but I've been following the streams this year. I guess that's one good thing that's come out of COVID.
We've got an interesting story about the streams, particularly the Hereford game. Let's talk a bit more about that. What time did you wake up?
Yeah, but I can't really hear you. What was that?
What time did you wake up to watch the Hereford game?
Oh, the Hereford game. Yeah, so I got a bit excited about the cup run, and my missus wasn't too pleased with the midweek games because they're generally at 2 a.m. So I was generally not in good order, or I'd be setting an alarm. I ran the gauntlet of setting the alarm for that game, and yeah, I was. My missus was not too pleased. But yeah, in the end, it probably wasn't worth it. But
No, but you've committed to the club by watching the stream from afar, and although your missus might not have been too happy waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning, we'd appreciate your support at the time. So it's just a shame we couldn't have got the result we were both hoping for. But fingers crossed we can do better next season, and it's something to work on. And like you say, you've been keeping up to date with the fixtures and the games, and we've got a few good games coming up to finish off the season with.
yeah, don't look too far ahead into the fixtures, but definitely be watching the midweek. It's a lot easier for me to watch midweek because, well, they're at 4 a.m. this time of year, but generally they've been at 5 a.m. It's a bit of a curse of being a football fan over here. But yeah, definitely looking forward to hopefully seeing some good games to finish off the year, although it'd be good to have some fans in and hopefully some atmosphere. But yeah, looking forward to it and hopefully see some entertaining games with it.
Yeah, exactly that. It'd be nice for you. Obviously, you won't be able to make the game because you'll be over in Australia at the time, but for you to see fans back in the ground before the end of the season, it's got to be a positive, and it should be nice to feel like you're watching a proper football game.
Yeah, definitely. It's strange. I haven't watched, well, during COVID, I couldn't watch any of the traditional sports over here. Yeah, I just reconnected with football for some reason. I guess, yeah, it's a big hole missing from big part of my life in the past.
Well, hopefully the work we've been doing here has kept you involved and kept you enjoying the football that we provide, whether it be the midweek show, whether it be the actual live stream stuff you watch with your missus at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. over there. Hopefully it's been a beneficial thing for you to watch.
Yeah, it definitely has. Yeah, particularly early on, how I came about to watching the streams was we had 7 months of lockdown or thereabouts, and there was no end in sight. And it was pretty harsh restrictions. We had 5K limits. We had curfews at 8 p.m, amongst other restrictions. And mental health was suffering a fair bit. So I think there was talk of hubs in various states to continue to fulfill TV deals or whatnot. But I'm actually looking at the Belarusian Premier League, which many had jumped on because that was guaranteed to run. And yeah, it's just in the back of my mind thinking about Aldershot and Frankfurt, and just typed into Google, found that I could stream the games and went from there.
And Chris, of course, we're talking as you've been watching the streams this season. Is there any games in particular that stand out to you that you've watched this season that you've enjoyed watching?
Yeah, there was a Dover game. I don't know if it was because that was an early game in the season or not, but that sticks out in the memory, the 5-0. The other game that I particularly got some joy out of was the Notts County game. Just their commentators were really biased. A little difficult for me to understand the accent at the time, but yeah, just negating their game plan, and they were talking about, Danny Searle seems to play the ball on the deck, but not talking about football as it should be played and all sorts. That was particularly enjoyable.
And you also mentioned the Solihull Moors game in the Cup as well.
Yeah, the Solihull Moors game, that was a real enjoyment. That good.
No? And of course, another game was the Solihull Moors game in the Cup.
Yeah, this seems it's been a bit of a blur for me, like getting up at all hours or having a few on the weekend before watching. But if I am up at 2 a.m, I generally have. Yeah, but the cup run and I think it was the 3-2 result. I think that was a pretty good game from memory.
And fingers crossed, maybe soon, maybe next season, if the time and the dates all work out, we'll maybe see you back at a game soon. Have you ever been to a game? Would you want to come to a game live over here?
It's a possibility. Around at Christmas time, yeah, like my partner is really into Christmas, so and she wants to see a white Christmas. So we talked about it for this year. We got an invite to come over, but it's probably too soon, I'd say, COVID and all that.
Might just have to be not this year, but maybe next year. When next season, hopefully, if things have settled down a little bit, we could see you back at the EVB very soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully, yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for your time, and I hope we as a club have helped you with everything over there. And thank you so much for, keeping us in your mind, in your thoughts. And if there's ever anything we can do as a football club to help out, please just reach out to me again with what we can do. And thank you for offering your story with us for the midweek show this week.
Okay, no worries.
There you go. That's the last in the series of Around the World, but we will be coming up with something different next time, I can assure you. My favourite part of the show is the Oasis Electrical. Remember, if you want electrical work done anywhere, these are the people to contact. They proudly sponsor the In With A Shot, and I was speaking to the gentleman yesterday, and I think he's going to continue that sponsorship. Why wouldn't he? It's buzzing. So the In With A Shot draws up next, and before you see the wonderful colourful Mike, who can be the only person who does the draw now, I'm not going to be anywhere near impersonating what Mike can do. It's absolutely wonderful, great entertainment. Just want to say a couple of things about it. We're nearing now £400. I think this week's total, you'll find out from Mike, was £398, which is absolutely fantastic. Every week that gets paid out to you and gets paid into the football club. £398. You know what I'm going to say. You know I want £1,000. I want us to break through 400. So I'm asking you, can you get your neighbour to play? It's £2 a week, and guess what? It's a polystyrene cup of coffee, one of them a week, and you just put your £2 in. We can do it. We can get to where we want to go. The reason I'm pushing a bit harder now is we're coming to the end of the season. It's very, very important that we don't drop off. We don't have anyone not renew because the season, and it might slip out of mind. Let's keep this going all the way through the season. And as an added incentive, one of our very, very lucky sponsors, the same person actually who brought in the Butts bonus and gave £1,000 so that one of you lucky guys can win it, or girls, he has now added an additional prize. So along with In With A Shot comes In With A Shirt, and the last draw of every month he's brought 24 shirts, home or away, any size you want. And the number that gets drawn out, you are entitled to phone Matt Wigman in the club shop and say, I'd like the away kit or the home kit in whatever size you want. You can have it signed. You don't have to have it signed, whatever. But there are two to be drawn out. One in the £2 game, one in the £5 game for 1 year. And this customer paid for those shirts, list price, for 25 shirts, wanted one himself and gave us 24. It was another £1,000 worth of shirts. So this gentleman has given £2,000 in total to In With A Shot, combined with, at the end of the month, In With A Shirt, to just try and get you guys to keep the interest and to keep this bubbling along to get to £1,000 a week. So thank you for playing, keep pushing it, keep helping me, keep helping the club, and remember, I want you to win. Every penny we get is matched by every penny that we give an Aldershot supporter or someone who may be willing to help Aldershot Football Club. So good luck tonight. Over to Mike.
Well, hello. Thursday again. My word, how time flies. And the opportunity for some good prizes today in with a shot. Somebody asked me the other day, have you got a number in the bag? And I said, yeah, I got a number in the bag. So, and I won. Before they asked me to do what I'm doing now, I won. But I have to tell you, it was a pretty poor prize that I won because I signed up in the very early days when very few people were on the scheme, you see. But whereas now, I want to win. And if I did win, what would I do? I know what I'm going to do if I win, but I'm not going to tell you now. I'll tell you if I win. But I hope if you've got a number in the bag, your chance of winning is again tonight for the £5 draw. I draw out the number of 39.
Alan Henson.
Alan Henson, right. Well, Alan, let me tell you, you will receive a prize of £215. That's good, isn't it? Sounds really good. I got about £21.50 when I won, so things have improved, and they will improve even more if we have more people who will sign up into this wonderful game that we have every Thursday night. It's in with a shot, and now we're going to draw out the number for the £2 winner. And the £2 winner is number 63.
Baron Howe.
Baron Howe. Baron Howe. Well, your prize is also a good one. £183. So that means that we, this week, will be passing over to the club £398. Oh dear, just short of that 400. Come on, get your number in the bag and we'll pass that target very soon. So all the best, God bless, good night.
Just imagine, in a perfect world, the grass would always stay green, the sun would always be shining, the birds would always be singing, and not one of us would be vitamin D deficient. For more information, please go to www.yourpersonalisedvitamins.co.uk.
Thornet Project Services Limited proudly supports Aldershot Town FC.
So there we have it, in with the shot, Oasis Electrical. I hope you were the lucky winners tonight. I won't preach to you anymore. I did that pre the draw, so good luck and well done to everybody who won tonight, or the 2 lucky winners tonight and the shirt winners. Congratulations. Get in touch with Matt Wigman and keep applying and getting people to join in with the show. Last part of the show now, it's question time. The questions actually were aimed at Shahid Azim, so in a second you'll see a VT clip where Henry catches up with Shahid. There was one question aimed at me and Henry, and that was, will the show, the midweek show, or the TV shows continue? Well, the streaming will not continue because we hopefully have people in the ground, but we do know now and have the contacts that if anything was to go wrong and we needed to stream a game, we have the facilities or the contacts or the ability to do that. But the streaming of live games will cease because we want you to come to the ground, and there simply isn't enough people who stream as well, sadly. But ideas are welcome. Please send them in, but I hope you're not too disappointed with that. It will be a shame to see that finally sort of shut down after the game on Saturday. But the midweek show, we are intending to continue. The biggest problem we have, or may have, is in the off-season, is content and keeping you guys interested. We're obviously first-team players that go away and have a break, so it may be that it goes fortnightly, but our intention at the moment, because we don't want to lose the regular slot of everybody knowing that it's 7 o'clock on a Thursday, our intention at the moment is to very, very much keep the show going, and we've got some ideas, but what we really want is some audience participation from you guys. And there are a couple of things, like I've got the great debate, let's talk things Aldershot. I can host it, we can still do Zoom if you want, or we can meet up, but we need some of you guys who want to join in there, and we can talk about budgets and how it would work. There's lots of you debate things on social media. Let's debate it on here. Let's put it on the show and let everybody see what the questions are and what the debate is, and how you think we can get over things like budgeting, why it's not 2-year contracts, or indeed if it is 2-year contracts. All the questions and bits and pieces you want answered, please get in touch with me and Henry. We need your help for content, as simple as that. But our intention is to keep this show going as often as possible and every week if we can. So that's answered that question. Over to Shahid for his questions.
Shahid, we're back with another week of midweek questions. We'll go straight into it, and a bit of one that might come under Matt's remit, but you can still help with this nonetheless. When do you think details of next season's season tickets will be released? Again, you can answer this, but I think we've already been talking about our season tickets, and we just expect those to be answered by looking on our website, really. So
well, I think we have released the information, and isn't there there's a link on the website, and that they can go to and get information.
Yeah.
From. So
if they need any more help, they can just email Matt, and I'm sure he can help them.
Yep.
The next question. Once again, I ask if the club could publish the streaming figures. This is the one area of transparency the club is deficit in.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure we keep talking about transparency. You know, every question I get is about transparency, and we're trying to be transparent as possible. So let me give you. So we average around about 800 people watching our streaming, that home and away. Now, give you an example. Top end, the highest we had was 2,500, roughly 2,500 when we played Wrexham, and probably 1,600 of those came from Wrexham. Okay, so that's there. The lowest we had is around about when without the crowds is around about 400. Okay, so that if you take those over 23 games, including the FA Cup against Woking, which is about 900, that averages about roughly approximately 800 people watching it. That also includes special deals we've done with people who bought the package deal for a half year one, and then again in January bought the second half, and plus we had approximately sort of 75 odd people, our season ticket holder, we're so grateful for. They converted their season ticket to streaming tickets. So there's about 80 of them. So roughly about 800, which is for us is is a great way of connecting, watching the people. Our show has been, I think it's second to none. I think we have some fantastic, even on Saturday to get likes of Jeff Stelling on there, and we had, Terry Brown and all past players. So it's been great, and it's one way of us communicating with our supporters, combined with our midweek show. So while we've been in lockdown, we evolved and developed, and and streaming is one aspect of that.
Thank you very much. Next question. It's a bit on the planning question again. How far down the road are the club in submitting a planning application with Rushmore Borough Council? And also, could they provide a new picture of how the ground would look, given that the student accommodation in the original plan is being replaced by a 63-bed care facility?
Okay. Well, first of all, as I say before, we are, and I'm pretty, I wouldn't say, I'm getting fatigued. I'm sure, like everybody else is. There's a ongoing dialogue with the council, which is the fantastic support there. One thing we need to agree is with Granger and MOD. That gives us access to the back of the ground via, I think it's Parson Passage, which is not the Parson Barrack Club, but it's one up there, which we need that access to come in there. And now the problem we got there is that there's a value to that, what MOD wants to perceive and what we think the value of that access is. So we're just negotiating with that. Well, once we know exactly what it's going to cost us, that means if it's going to cost us, I'm just throwing out numbers, so don't quote me on this, but say it's going to cost us £1 million. Well, it's going to be £1 million less that we can spend on the ground development. So the idea is to get it, it's a community asset. Every penny we're going to get is going to go into develop the football club. The football club plays a major part in the town and the footfall, the regeneration of the town. So, and I understand it from the MOD and Granger, they've got to get value for it. But I think they're just going through all the process of actually saying why it should be free. And that's what we're just negotiating on at the moment. Once that's done, we will have the pre-app in straight away. So, so NATO are ready to put that process in, but you can't put an app in unless a pre-app in unless you know how much money you got to develop. And the challenge we've also got is that since the Brexit and everything else, the cost of materials virtually gone up. So so it's vital that we trying to get everything for, I wouldn't say nothing, but every penny we can save will go to develop the football club.
So in other words, we are down the road. We're just working out the plan. Let's make sure.
Yeah, and I got another meeting with the council next week. So people might not see a lot of activity going on, but I can tell you, apart from when they had the elections, I'm constantly talking to Granger, talking to the council, talking to our advisors, talking to NATO. So there's always dialogues are going in the background, and I'll still go back to my date, 2025.
And in terms of the picture he's asked for, I'm assuming that's just we have to wait and see what we can have first before we then start looking at pictures and everything like that.
Yeah. I mean, don't forget, right at the beginning when we drew that picture, it was a concept what we could do.
Yeah.
Right. And it was fans forum. We drew that block of flats down in the front to get students accommodation, but sadly that was linking with Surrey University, but it took too long, and the university got their own development, and so that's no go really.
Okay, final question. Now that the streaming is coming to an end and it's the end of the season and the National League is crawling back, obviously, in terms of getting their National League streaming and rights and everything like that, where do overseas fans stand on the club's live streaming?
Well, it'll come down to the cost, right? So at the moment, for us to show the streaming, whether it's UK or abroad, the cost of having likes of the production, likes of the crew, the cameras, there's a cost to that. Now, if only the football club's only going to get 30 people watching it, I'm not being rude, but it's not viable. We might be looking at an alternative way of doing it with our the AI camera that follows a ball, which doesn't need the production. But we will look at that there. But it hasn't been decided from the FA and BT if there's going to still be, which I envisage the embargo is going to be there between 3 and 5 on Saturdays. But it doesn't affect our overseas rights. So we're looking at how we might be able to still get that there. So I know it doesn't look like I'm trying to dodge the question, but I'm not. All I'm saying is we can show it. It'll come down to cost. And if there's going to be 50, 60 people that says we guarantee we're going to pay for it, we'll provide some form of service for them. And again, I'm just coming up with the numbers, just saying.
It's a waiting game in a minute, isn't it? Just to
Yes.
wait and see what COVID allows and things like that.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's it for this week, Shahid. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully see you again soon.
Well, yes, and I just think it'd be good to mention, as documented, in the press release on Danny and the team coming across. It's been, for everybody, it's been a real challenging time, and no more than for Danny and the team. And if you look at it, they took over the football club May 2019, just before our end of season finish. In theory, if it wasn't for Gateshead, we would have been relegated. Didn't know what league we're going to be in, so Danny never got to prepare. And then the season prematurely finished in February. End of February, our last home game was, I think, March the 2nd or 3rd against Dagenham. And then we didn't start again till October. And combined with that, no crowds, nothing. And to be fair, I don't think they had a fair crack of the whip. And I think they've done well. I think, and I think, we learning, they learning. And I think going forward, I think, it was a unanimous decision by the board. And, and I and the board wish them all the best, because we are united going forward.
Brilliant. Perfect way to end it. Thank you, Shahid.
Thank you, Henry.
That draws a close to episode 18. Fantastic. We've enjoyed making the show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Remember, tomorrow is the last day that you can buy tickets for our last home game this year, which is Saturday, Bromley. But you have to get your tickets tomorrow if you want to come. If you can't make it, tune in to the last ever streaming. We're still streaming the game. Tune in, watch us, and watch the shots and enjoy the last ever streaming. One other little bit that I'm going to plug is we are having hospitality for the Kings Lynn away game. So if you want to watch that on their streaming, because we can't travel, we're in the EBB lounge, and you can contact me and have a nice 3-course meal with a few Aldershot people. We're all sitting there eating our food, watching the Kings Lynn match together. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hope you've enjoyed the show. See you next week.